Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Cooper, and I am officially 1 week into senior year. I just completed my first week, and it was honestly a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I don't love school as it is, but I have some good classes, and I'm happy with my schedule, and luckily I only have one more year. So I'm excited for the school year, and we're going to learn some things, and we're going to make new friends, and yeah, I'm excited. And then we're going to graduate. But yeah, with that being said, I have had a lot going on, but I'm so excited to be with you guys today, and I have a very good episode ahead. This topic that I'm going to be talking about is something that I've kind of struggled with my whole life, and I still do struggle with sometimes in different ways, but I think that it's something that's important to be discussed, especially among teenage girls, but honestly anyone. But I just wanted to talk about it and let you guys know my opinions, and maybe you guys can relate. I think honestly, boys and girls, adults, kids, I think everyone can relate to this in some way. But I think right now, in my opinion, the area where it's most needed is among young girls, and that topic is beauty. I think especially with social media these days, it's so normalized to have to look a certain way, to have to be something, and it's so normalized for body shaming and for people to just say whatever they want on the internet because they're behind a screen. They don't have to worry about that one-on-one confrontation. You know, anyone can go on their phone and comment a hate comment because it's not in person. But would they say that to you to your face? Probably not. And so with that, there's so much hate in the world and there's so much negativity, and that bleeds off to everyone, even people who aren't influencers like me. I don't post on TikTok and those things often, but you know, even people like us, we are still affected by it on the daily because we see those comments, we see those things, and we naturally internalize those things. And when someone says, "Oh, you don't look good unless you're wearing makeup," then we internalize that and think that we have to wear makeup in order to be beautiful. We have to be skinny in order to be beautiful. We have to have blonde hair in order to be beautiful. We have to always have our hair curled and always have the best outfit and all of these things. But in reality, you as you are enough, and it's not fun to live your life trying to conform to what the world wants, because ultimately the world can want something today and then the next day it's different. That's what trends are. You know, that's why one day this shoe's in fashion and then the next it's like, oh, that shoe's ugly. We've moved on to something else. And that's why you can't rely on, you know, society to decide these things for you. You have to become the person who you want to be. You have to decide that for yourself, because ultimately you can't make everyone happy. I mean, truly, no matter what you do, no matter what you look like, someone's going to have a problem with it. So would you rather be yourself and someone have a problem with it, but you're happy? Or would you rather try to be someone else and then people still aren't happy? You know, it's not worth it. You are you for a reason, and God created you exactly as you are, and trying to become someone else isn't going to get you anywhere. I promise. And an example of this trends thing is, I was actually talking to one of my friends about this in my forensics class this week, but I hopped on the clogs trend a long time ago. Way before people started wearing these. The Birkenstock clogs. I wore those and I thought they were the cutest thing ever. I would wear them to school every day, and people would be like, "What are those shoes?" And they would literally comment on them and they would be like, "You're wearing Jesus shoes," or like, "What are those? I've never seen those before. Like, they're not cute." And then fast forward a few years later, all of these people are wearing Birkenstock clogs. And I'm like, hello? I was wearing those way before and people used to judge me for them, and now all of a sudden it's a trend, you know? And the thing with trends is that people hop on the bandwagon. So if one person starts to like it, they post on TikTok, it goes viral, then everyone starts to like it. So that's the idea that people's opinions are always changing. So be you, because even if you do something to please someone now, the chances that they're still going to be pleased with that in a year, probably not, because people move on, people go with the trends, So the whole idea is just be unique, be who you are, because you can't make everyone happy. So do what makes you happy, do what makes you feel like you, because it's not worth it to spend our whole lives trying to be someone else. If you've watched some of my other episodes, you know that I dealt with an eating disorder. And I probably dealt with that for 1 to 2 years. I don't know exactly the time, but really the root of this eating disorder was me trying to please someone other than myself and God. I was trying to please the people around me. I was trying to please my parents. I was trying to be someone that I wasn't. And I thought that in order to be loved, in order for people to think I'm pretty, in order for all these things, I had to be skinnier. I had to be prettier. I had to wear makeup. I had to be someone who I'm not. And that leads to a very, very dark path. And I promise you it's not worth it. It's not worth it to do those things because you're beautiful as you are. And I'm learning that even today. I'm learning that me, as I am, the personality I have, I am beautiful and I don't need to change myself in order to be loved. We don't have to earn love. That is so important to highlight because love is not earned. Love is given to you. And especially with Jesus' love, like he loves you exactly as you are. He made you exactly as you are. So why are we trying to change that? And with other people, the people whose love you truly need, that love isn't going to be bought. You can't buy love. They will love you for who you are, not for who you try to be, That's the love that you want in your life. So if you want that type of love to enter your life, then you need to be yourself. People will love you. Certain people will love you exactly as you are. And the people who won't, you don't need them in your life anyways. The right friends, the right family members, they're going to love you exactly as you are. You don't need to change yourself in order to live up to their standards. And like I said, I dealt with 1 year to 2 years of changing everything about myself and basically killing myself in order to be someone who I thought would be wanted because I thought that I wasn't enough and I thought I had to be something different. But in reality, all that did was suppress my personality, which I'm pretty awesome. And so are you. Like our personalities as they are awesome. So don't suppress that because you think that people won't like it or you think that people will think you're weird. Like you are you and that's enough. And, I am me and that's enough. And I don't want to be anyone different now. And what I realized with asking for help, after all that time of going through my eating disorder alone and not talking to anyone about it and feeling almost ashamed of what I was dealing with, I told my dad and I told my sister and I told my therapist, and I realized that they loved me through it all. And I don't have to be anyone else. My authentic self, who I truly am, they love me. They love me for who I am. They don't love me for the clothes I wear. They don't love me for how pretty I am. They don't love me for how skinny I am. They don't love me for any of those things. They love me because of my personality and the way they feel when they're around me. And that's the same reason that we love others, I hope. If you have a best friend and you only love your best friend because you think she's pretty or because she's skinny, then you got it all wrong. We love the people in our lives because of their personality and how they make us feel. And, based on if they refresh us, our worth was never meant to be based off of the way we look, and our beauty comes from our inside. And I know that is so corny and it's so hard to believe. I know. Trust me, I had so many people tell me that. Even when I was going through my eating disorder, people would say, your beauty is on the inside. But that's the truth. Like, genuinely, your beauty is on the inside. It has nothing to do with all of these physical things. Because ultimately, as we grow older, these physical characteristics that we have are not going to be the same. Our hair is going to be gray and white. Our perfect skin, we're going to have wrinkles. You know what I mean? Like, none of this stays, but your heart does. So stop basing your worth off of what you look like. And that's something that I have to tell myself often too, because, I'm just as invested in TikTok and what people look like as anyone else. So I'm not saying this as, oh, I've conquered this. I'm perfect at seeing the beauty on the inside of myself. Like, no, I still deal with this every day, but I'm getting better at understanding that I'm good enough as I am, exactly as I am, and God created me exactly as I am, and I don't need to be anyone else. We find ourselves constantly trying to mold ourselves into who the world wants us to be, and we let the world just shape us without questioning it. We're just like, you do whatever you want, and I'll be the product of that. And that is so incorrect. In the Bible, it says, we are the clay and God is the sculptor. Like, no one except for God should be doing those things. God gets to decide who we are. He wants to mold us into who we're meant to be. We were never meant to look at the crowd and say, oh, if the crowd is doing this, then I'll do this too. I have brown hair. I'm a brunette, and in this day and age, it's so normalized for only blondes to be pretty. It's like, you have to be blonde, you have to be fake blonde in order for guys to like you, in order for you to be top tier pretty, right? But the truth is, there are so many brunettes who are absolutely stunning, and we don't have to change ourselves. Of course, if you want to dye your hair, absolutely go do that. If you want to wear makeup every day, absolutely do that. If you want to, wear super nice outfits or super cute outfits every day, absolutely go do that. But where it crosses a line is our intentions. If we are doing those things in order to please others, that's the wrong intention. If we're doing it in order to feel good about ourselves, if that's what we love to do, then that is the right intention. When you're having a bad week, sometimes the way to, kind of turn that around is to do your makeup and get dressed up and to do something that makes you feel pretty and makes you feel your best. And absolutely go do that. But don't do those things just because you want the praise of someone else or just because you think, oh, I'll fit in if I do these things. Because that's not what life is about. We're not meant to live our lives just trying to please someone else. We're humans. Our pleasure comes and goes. Our happiness comes and goes. So why would we try to please someone who isn't going to remain pleased for the rest of our lives? It's so fluctuating. I have short hair now. I used to have long hair, but just a few years ago, it was like a bob is not cute. Short hair is not cute. We like long hair. And now it's becoming a trend to cut your hair and to have it short or to have a full bob, and these things are so fluctuating. But the reason I cut my hair wasn't to please someone else. It was because I wanted to change and I wanted to try something new, and I love it on myself. But the truth is that even if it became a trend to have long hair again and people didn't like short hair, I truly believe that I will do what's best for me and what I like about myself, because I do like my short hair. I like, honestly, not having to take care of extremely long hair. And I also like that my hair doesn't look so thin like this. I have thin hair naturally, and I always have, but having shorter hair allows it to feel more full, and I just like it. And I like how I feel with my short hair, but everyone's different, and that's okay. I think we often think that we have to be this cutout, and everyone has to be this perfect little Barbie doll. And we all have to look exactly the same. We all have to think the exact same. We all have to wear our makeup the exact same. But that is so boring. It's so boring to try to be someone else because we'll never get there. God made you so uniquely and He made you perfectly. Obviously, you are not perfect, but you were made perfectly. You were made exactly how God wanted you to be. And if God made us all exactly the same, that would be so boring. That would literally be so boring. And if He made us all the same, how would we have friend groups? How would we have our best friends? How would we have our favorite family members? How would we have all of these things? Because everyone would be the same, you know? We have best friends because we have people whose personalities shine a little brighter than the rest for us, you know? My best friend, I love her because we have the same humor. We relate to things on a different level than everyone else. But if we were all the exact same, then how would we have best friends? It doesn't make sense. But the idea is that you, exactly as you are, with your true personality and authentic self, someone will love you for that. Everyone has different tastes, everyone has different personalities, but someone, I guarantee, will love you as you are. And if you haven't found that in the world, God loves you exactly as you are. So when you're thinking that you are enough and that you have to be something different, God loves you exactly as you are. You don't need anyone to prove that to you. The Bible states it again and again that you were knit together in your mother's womb. He knit you together. He created you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. So stop questioning that. And that goes for me too. Stop questioning that, because I find myself wanting to change myself, wanting to fit in with the crowd, wanting to do things solely based off of pleasing others, or so that someone will look at me and think I'm pretty, or someone will look at my outfit and say, oh, that's cute. But those things are not fulfilling, you know? I find that when someone does say those things, it doesn't even stay, because we have this mindset as humans of we tend to look for the bad things. You know, if someone says something bad about us, that will linger in our head for months, years, even our whole lives if we let it. But when someone says something good about us, when someone calls us pretty, when someone says something about our outfit, we don't believe them. Believe them. If someone gives you a compliment this week, believe them. Allow yourself to feel happy, allow yourself to feel, pretty, but don't base your worth off of that, because your worth is not based off of how many likes I get on this post. Your worth is not based off of how many compliments I get this week. It's not based off of that. Of course, we can be happy when someone comments on it, because it's natural. It's natural to feel happy when someone compliments us or when someone says something kind to us, but that's not where our worth is found. And I recently went to a women's worship night with some of my friends, and then also some people that I had never met ever. It was a little bold for me to go. I'm not really an adventurous type, but I went to this, and it was at someone's house that I didn't know, and I met everyone, and it was a beautiful night of worship, and we sang, and we had a speaker come up, and she talked about this idea as well of just trying to mold yourself to be someone who you're not and trying to fit in with people, and how that leads you down the wrong path every single time. But she mentioned one verse that's really stuck with me, and I thought about it. That women's worship night was a week or two ago, but a verse that really stuck with me was Galatians 1:10. And it basically just said, if I am trying to please others, if my life is trying to please others, then I am not a follower of Christ. And that is just, honestly, it comes up in my mind a lot, probably every day, honestly, because I find myself wanting to please others, and I find myself wanting to do things so that others will say something to me or think I'm pretty. But the idea is that our lives are not meant to please others. Our lives are meant to please God, and we are not servants of Christ if all we do is base our worth off of what other people think about us. We are not servants of Christ if that's the life we're living. We are meant to use our gifts that God has given us and use our beautiful bodies that God has given us to honor God and to bring others to God. We are not meant to use our bodies as comparisons. We're not meant to see our bodies and say, I'm not good enough because I don't look like her. I'm not as skinny as her. I don't do my makeup as good as her. My hair's not as good as her. My teeth aren't as good, right? Like, we are not meant to compare each other, because God made us unique, and He made us that way for a reason. We aren't meant to be someone else, right? And, these things that make us different from everyone else, God uses those things to reach people. I wouldn't wish an eating disorder on my worst enemy. I really, really wouldn't. I don't wish that on anyone, but I do believe that I went through the eating disorder so that now I can impact other people and I can be there for other people when they're going through similar things. I believe that, I have these specific insecurities about myself that I'm working past. I believe that I have these so that when other people come to me and they are upset about an insecurity, I can comfort them, right? Everything about our lives are so specific. God made us so specifically. He placed every hair follicle on your head. Like, He knows exactly who you are, and none of it is a mistake, None of it is a mistake, and you are beautiful as you are. You really are. And I just encourage you, when you forget, set reminders on your phone. Put something on your phone that reminds you that you're beautiful. Maybe that's a Bible verse. Maybe that's a quote, whatever it is. Like, keep reminding yourself of your beauty, and one day you will believe it. Because I know it's hard right now when you're dealing with insecurities and you're just thinking, you're not cute, you're whatever it is, you're not enough. But the words we speak to ourselves matter. And if we continuously tell ourselves, I am beautiful, I am enough, we will eventually believe it. And it's the truth. We are enough and we are beautiful, and we don't have to do anything in order to be those things. You as you are enough. And before we move on from, comparison, I just want to remind you guys, comparison is the thief of joy. And I literally see that every day. Every day we are comparing ourselves in some way, shape, or form, especially with social media. Social media is great for a lot of things. It's great to, reach a lot of people, but it can also be really, really bad in a lot of ways. And I think one of the ways that it's the worst is comparison, because we see these highlight reels of people online, and then we think that our lives have to look exactly like that. We think that we have to look exactly like those people. And we think that if we don't post TikToks every day and get 1 million likes, that we aren't enough. But that is simply not the truth. Yes, some people are made to be models, but others are made to be comforters. Others are made to just simply smile at people and make people feel seen and heard. We all have different purposes, but we're not meant to compare ourselves to anyone else. I saw this quote. I don't know if this was on Pinterest or TikTok or where I saw this, but it's like, how are you going to compare a butterfly and a flower? They're both beautiful. Butterflies are beautiful. The colors, monarch butterflies, they're orange and black and white, and they're so beautiful. And flowers, they have so many different colors and they smell good, and they are beautiful. But butterflies and flowers are beautiful in their own way, and they're not meant to be compared. The same thing goes for each one of us. Like, we are all so unique. We can't even compare ourselves to each other because we're so different, and that's okay. We aren't meant to compare ourselves to each other. And I just don't want you guys to forget that, and I don't want me to forget that. I do forget that a lot, but I want to just keep reminding myself of my worth, because God knows you. He knows me, and He made us this way for a reason. You are literally perfectly made, so stop letting other people's opinions of you, stop letting, the trends on TikTok, stop letting the world define who you are. God is the sculptor. We are the clay. Okay, so let Him shape you into who you're meant to be. Stop letting the world do that. We can't be of God and of the world at the same time. We have to choose. And if you choose the world, you will never be satisfied. You'll never be happy with yourself. You will always be comparing yourself. You will always feel like you are never enough. But if you are of God and you fix your eyes on God, you will realize that you are enough. You are beautiful and you are deserving of love. And God does love you exactly as you are. God is the only thing that will fulfill us. And if we fill our lives, fill our minds with things that God would say, not that the enemy would say, when we fill our minds with things that God would say, we will be fulfilled. And we will start to think of ourselves in a more positive way. Don't let the enemy creep into your mind. Don't let him keep talking about your worth and convincing you that your worth is found in somewhere else. Don't let him do that. John 10:10, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but God has come so that we may have a life and live it to the full, right? The enemy is always trying to enter your life and steal your joy. kill your peace and make you feel like you aren't enough. He does that to me on the daily, and I'm working past it. And I have insecurities that I deal with, just like everyone else. Everyone has those things. But don't allow the enemy to have a foothold. Fill your mind with positive things. Keep listening to positive podcasts that remind you of your worth. Keep reading the Bible. Keep looking at verses that talk about your beauty on the inside. Keep surrounding yourself with friends who bring you up and not push you down. Surround yourself with people who make you happy and who love you for who you are, and you will be fulfilled. You are so beautiful, and I just thank you for listening. I have had an absolutely amazing time filming this episode, and this is something I'm extremely passionate about, and it's something that I deal with on a day-to-day, but I think that is exactly why I want to talk about it, because it's close to my heart, and I know it's close to a lot of other people's hearts, because I've had people talk to me about it. But thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you're not following already, please do so. If you have someone who you think would benefit from hearing this and listening to this podcast, send it over to them. I would love to have a new listener. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for staying till the end. I appreciate it so, so much. And I will see you guys next week. That's the scoop.